You're now watching the Good, Bad, and Ugly podcast, featuring Kevin Bunk, John Downs, and Reese Jantz.
All right, GBU, another offseason preview. As always, I'm Kevin Bunk, here to bring you the number 4 pick in the draft, the New York Jets. Finally out of those top 3 teams. Not that I didn't enjoy doing them, but as a New Yorker, as a Jets fan, I wanted to get to this 4th and 5th pick so bad where the Jets and Giants hold their draft picks. But today we start with Gang Green, the best setup team in this top 5 to make the jump next season. And it starts a year ago with the firing of Adam Gase and the hiring of Robert Saleh. We always go through the 2021 review. So here it is for the Jets. The Jets hired Robert Saleh last year, January 3rd of last year. Since then, they've really taken a proper step forward. Joe Douglas nailed their draft last year, getting 5-6 potential starters for this team. Zach Wilson, Elijah Vera Tucker, Elijah Moore. Those were all in the top 34 picks of last year's draft. They did not have a third-round pick last year after trading up for Elijah Vera Tucker. They get Michael Carter, who is your franchise running back. Then they get a plethora of defensive backs to finish their draft, which the clear strategy was we need 2 of these 4 or 5 guys to pan out, to have right off the bat Brandon Echols and Michael Carter, the second, not to be confused with Michael Carter, the running back, and also Jason Pinnock showed really good signs when he was moved from corner to free safety to end the season. So the Jets may have gotten 6 starters out of this draft. It's maybe the best draft. It's definitely the best in my lifetime. It might be the best Jets draft when we look back on this in a few years that they've ever had. But a lot to add still, as this draft class makes up about 80-90% of the team's good players. So the Jets are going into this offseason with a couple of question marks for guys that should be franchise cornerstones and still will be treated as such. The main guy is Mekhi Becton. He is as talented as any left tackle in this league. He reminded me, last season, his rookie year, he reminded me of Trent Williams. And that was just a perfect marriage that we got a San Fran coaching staff. And it just worked out really well. Becton's such a mauler in the run game. He's so impactful in this run game. He's one of those guys that last season, it was run it behind Becton, you're going to get 2 to 5 yards on a bad run. So they really need him back. There's a lot of questions about his health and his weight and really just his work ethic as a whole. I'm not here to comment on that, being that I don't know anything for sure, but some reputable sources have said that he did gain weight this offseason. He's currently working with a nutritionist and trainer, but due to his weight gain was the fact that he couldn't recover from a 6 to 8 week knee injury that he sustained in week 1 in the first half of their game against the Panthers. So he really should not have missed the entire season, and he did. He should have played from week 10 on at the worst. And now here we are wondering if the Jets have a franchise left tackle or not after sitting here a year ago saying they definitely do. So those types of things happen in the NFL, but they got a couple other guys that are just really, really great players on this team and good young guys that are promising. All 3 of the defensive backs, the cornerbacks that played last year, look really good. Bryce Hall in his second year, Brandon Echols and Michael Carter in their rookie years. And then on offense, you have Michael Carter, the running back, looked fantastic, 600-plus rushing yards and 300-plus receiving yards. He's a 1,000-yard back if he stays healthy the whole season, but he's very undersized, so do I rely on that? I don't know. Elijah Moore, when he was able to stay healthy, was fantastic. Unfortunately, though, as I keep going through all these guys, I say, are they able to stay healthy? So they got their cornerstone. Zach Wilson looked awesome after his PCL injury, after coming back, taking a few weeks to step back and watch guys like Flacco and Mike White and Josh Johnson take the simple things, take what the defense gave them. Zach Wilson started to do that, and he just started to get overall much more comfortable in this second half of the season. And Mike LaFleur absolutely killed it with running this offense in the second half of the season as well once he moved from the sideline to the booth. So that's this past year in review, those are the cornerstones, guys that have to be good. Zach Wilson, Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, those defensive backs that were mentioned have to be good players for this team and really have to try to stay healthy. Another guy that they really look forward to having back is Carl Lawson, who did not play a game for them. He's our marquee free agent signing last season. He did not play a game for the Jets this year after a bad injury in the preseason. So excited to see him, and he should help that defense take the jump, the 32nd ranked defense in the league last year. He should be a big piece coming back. Now, going into 2022, we've seen this story so many times. We're confident in a rookie quarterback to be the guy for the Jets since Namath, first guy. We've seen it with Sanchez. We've seen it with some fans with Geno, personally not me. We've seen it with Sam Darnold, definitely. I was in that group after his rookie year thinking, we're not going to have to get a quarterback for a decade in the draft, and that's an awesome thing. However, that's not how it always works out. And it doesn't work out that way when you don't surround your quarterback with players. First move and the main move of this entire offseason for the Jets is acquiring Calvin Ridley. You have the draft capital to do it. You have the draft capital to acquire whoever you want in this league right now. Calvin Ridley wants out in Atlanta. We've seen Buffalo reap the benefits firsthand with Stephon Diggs. So this is just a no-brainer for the Jets. You have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, a fifth, 2 sixths, 2 sevenths. You have the best draft collection in the NFL. You have to use it to get these players because we know that with the top 4, with 4 picks in the top 40 for the Jets at 1, 10, 36, and 39, 2 of those players are certainly not going to be great. We could end up missing on all 4 of them. It's just too much draft PTSD for this franchise to trust that you're going to hit all 4 of those picks. And I think Joe Douglas understands that Calvin Ridley's a guy that would just help this team so much. He understands that he has to help this rookie quarterback going into his second year now in Zach Wilson. I have a lot of confidence in the Jets to actually get this deal done, but time will tell. We're not even to the Super Bowl yet, so the offseason hasn't really gotten started. This is an absolute no-brainer for the Jets, and the last thing you can let happen is let Calvin Ridley go to the Patriots for Mac Jones. So let's move on to free agency this year. That's the big move, though, is Calvin Ridley. That's the one I want to see. The Jets are the first team out of this series of offseason previews that actually need to get some guys re-signed. First, I start with Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. Traded for him at the trade deadline with the Chiefs, sent a 5th-round pick for him. Great player 2 years ago, went to pursue his medical career and help fight COVID. Came back this year, didn't have a spot anymore as expected. And the Jets traded for him. He was actually pretty good for him. I don't know if he's your starting right guard, but at the worst, he's a great, great backup for the 2 guard positions. Quincy Williams, undrafted free agent signing. Not undrafted, I'm sorry. Jacksonville released him. They signed him after training camp, and he was awesome. Quinnen Williams' older brother. He was fantastic. I want to bring Quincy back, 2 or 3 year deal. Couple question marks. Foley, Fatukasi. I think it's a pretty crowded interior defensive line room. I think he was the second best guy there behind Quinnen Williams, but you have Quinnen Williams for another year. He was a 3rd overall pick. You're going to keep him. He's the best player out of that group. And you have John Franklin Myers, who you just extended to play that interior. I think Fatukasi's probably out the door, but a guy that I wouldn't be upset with the Jets re-signing. Jets needed a lot of help at safety. In my opinion, top 2 worst position group on the team, along with tight end. We'll talk about tight end. So do you lowball Marcus May, who just tore his Achilles? He's going to be 30. I don't know. That's something that the team can do. That's an option that they have. But the main guy that has to be re-signed was the team's only All-Pro, Braxton Berrios. Kick return and punt return specialist. Good slot receiver. Good depth receiver at the 4th or 5th receiver spot on the roster. Berrios is a guy that they have to get back. They let Andre Roberts walk a few years ago. They had the 2nd-best special teams in the league this year. Don't lose that and go back to mediocrity at any phase of the ball. Keep Braxton Berrios. I have to guess he's anywhere from $4.5 to $7 million, depending on the team's bidding for him. But those are the 3 guys that I definitely bring back are LDT, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, Braxton Berrios, and Quincy Williams. 3 really good players for the Jets this past season that fill holes that they need. Going to try to run through free agency as quick as possible because there's a lot of moves for the Jets who are trying to jump from 4 wins to a hopeful playoff spot. This is the first team in this series that a hopeful goal is going to be a playoff spot. I don't think that's in the cards for Jacksonville, Houston, or Detroit, but it is for the Jets, and I think that this team realistically should be sitting at 7 to 9 wins next season, probably miss the playoffs, but they're going to be trying for that 7 seed. You have to go offense this offseason. I know the defense was the worst of the two sides, but don't settle for mediocrity on the offensive side of the ball anymore. I'm trying to see this team be where I felt Arizona was at last year, with an offense that could just score, Kyler Murray and all these weapons, so let's start adding pieces to the defense. So 3 offensive linemen that I try to get in this free agency. You need right side of the line, so Brandon Scherf from Washington, he's the marquee guy. Austin Corbett from the Rams is solid. I don't know if he's much of an upgrade over Duvernay Tardif, but he's younger, good player. And Alex Kappa, who has the ability, of course from Tampa, who has the ability to play right tackle as well. I think he's going to try to get that as it draws more money than the guard position. So those are 3 guys at offensive line that I definitely try to get. Joe Douglas has not shied away from improving this offensive line every chance he gets. I think it's time for him to try to solidify it this offseason so they could start working on the skill groups. They haven't had a good offensive line since 2015. They really need to solidify it this year. They showed a lot more improvement last season, though, so a lot of promise at the offensive line. And I also want to add running backs to this team for short yardage. I think Michael Carter's your starter, but you need some short yardage backs. We know Carter's not an every down back. And 4th and 2, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2, who are we giving the ball to? Goal line, who are we giving it to? Because Carter is not big enough. He doesn't have the power or the acceleration to get into that end zone. 3 names for me. You could bring back Tevin Coleman if you want to. He's getting older. He's the oldest of these 3. Darrell Williams from Kansas City, who when he was put in as the starting running back when Edwards-Helaire was hurt, Darrell Williams was fantastic. That's why I'm kind of think a team will sign him to be a potential starter, a team like Houston or a team like Jacksonville. That's not going to be very good. Also, Sony Michel, who has revitalized his career with the Rams, had a great December and having a good January. He was traded from New England because of the knee injuries. It just never seemed like he was a long-term guy anyways, even at the draft. He won New England a Super Bowl, helped to win against the Rams. He was a huge part of the team that season. But Sony Michel is a guy that I don't see back due to Akers and Henderson being in that room, and I think that he's a good short yardage guy, power back for the Jets. Go to wide receiver, got to add depth here. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Michael Gallup. Gallup is the biggest money guy of those 3, but I don't know what his situation is going to be after the injury. I can see him 1 year back with Dallas, but Calvin Ridley is my number 1 receiver target this offseason. Or if you're at the 10th pick, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Treylon Burks, guys like that could be your number 1 receiver target. But go get Calvin Ridley. Don't stress this position in free agency as far any more than just getting depth pieces. And then I think the best way for the Jets to improve this passing game is at the tight end position. Dalton Schultz and Big Bob Tonyan from Green Bay, 2 guys that really good, solidified stud tight ends. Are they top 5 tight ends? No, but they're in that 7 to 12 range, both of them. Tanyan's a red zone machine. Schultz was all over the field this year for Dallas. He's only 25 years old. He's going to be 26 by the start of the season. I'd see him drawing around 12 to 14 million. Same with Tanyan, anywhere in that range of about 11 to 14 for Tanyan. And one defensive free agent that I really like, I'm not going to go crazy with the defensive free agents for the sake of time, is Marcus Williams at safety. He's the best safety. He's the best secondary player, in my opinion, in the free agency. He's going to get a lot of money at safety, probably 12 to 15 million. But I would try to get Marcus Williams because this safety position is really ugly. He's young. He's a good player. He's probably not going to be back with the Saints next year. So, move on to draft. Pivotal draft for the Jets franchise. It really is. You can't mess it up. And I have a lot of confidence in Joe Douglas. Once again, going to try to go a little quick through this for the sake of time. 4th pick, I really like Derek Stingley or Evan Neal. This is a PFF simulator, though, if I discussed it more. The way I'm doing this in the last video, I forgot to share the screen. That would help a lot. It's a PFF simulator, so if you've used it, you understand how it goes. It's very bad as far as, who the teams before you select. I like Derek Stingley at 4. I think that this is a good way to improve your defense a lot. We need that number 1 corner. They need a guy that takes the ball away in the secondary or a guy that just takes half the field away in the secondary, because I don't think Bryce Hall, Eccles, and Carter are able to cover wide receiver ones. And what's the worst thing that happens? You just end up with 4 really good corners at the end of the day. I love Stingley as a prospect. I think he's just such a good player. They got to add him. And if Evan Neal's there, I don't mind adding tackle or Ikemi Kwanu. I also love him on the right side of the line. Neal can play the right side of that line, but I just feel like he's better left tackle. I don't want to mess that up and move a guy from left tackle to right tackle. Then you got 3 left tackles with Fant, Becton, and Neal. Stingley is my guy at 4, though. As of now, it could change tomorrow. That's how it goes. At 10, if you keep 10, I'm assuming you didn't get Calvin Ridley, and I want a receiver at 10. And then you just see the rest of this draft kind of edge. Jermaine Johnson in the 2nd. Falele from Minnesota, the tackle at 38. Just keep improving the trenches. You need to get a tight end. I really like Jeremy Ruckert. I think by draft time he'll be a lot higher than his stock. I don't know if he gets into the earlier mid-second round, though. I really like him, though, and the Jets are coaching at the Senior Bowl, so he'll be there. That's a guy that they could really have an interest in. And Thayer Munford at guard, Ohio State. So now I'm just going through guard, linebacker, corner, center. Keep improving that offensive line, add depth to your position groups, and you have to get tight ends and wide receivers this offseason. So the 3 priorities for the Jets is going to be, for me, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, just anything to improve the passing game there, and then anything on defense. But focus on the offense. Focus on improving this passing game and adding some dynamic threats. Go get Calvin Ridley. He's proven stud in this league. The guy knows how to get open. He gets so much separation. He'd be the best wide receiver the Jets have ever had immediately. So go get him, help out Zach Wilson, and make sure that Zach Wilson's still protected. Add that depth to every position, because we know how the Jets' injury bug hurts them every year. They're the most injured team in the NFL this past season as far as salary cap on IR. It was terrible. They had $68 million of salary cap on the IR. That is really, really bad. So you hope that trend just improves in itself as far as the health of players goes. I don't know what goes into that as far as the training staff and everything, but keep improving the depth of the offense. Don't let us get to a point like last season where the last 4 or 5 games of the season, Zach Wilson's playing his best football, but he's throwing it to Jeff Smith, Berrios, Vincent Smith, Mims, and Tyler Kroft at tight end, who was actually our starter. Get me a tight end. Get me receivers. Get me an offensive line. The defense, I'll forgive you if you pass on it this offseason. Jets have to have a pivotal offseason this year. They have to nail it. They absolutely have to do good. It's too important for this franchise. They should try to jolt themselves to 7 to 9 wins next year. You have to start winning some division games and show everyone that your division is Josh Allen, Tua, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson at quarterback. Let Zach Wilson make the jump to the second-best quarterback in that division this offseason. Don't let the conservative play of Tua and Mac Jones beat you anymore. It has to stop. They don't win division games. They competed finally in one against Buffalo. They competed twice against Miami, but lost both. 0-6 2 years in a row in division. It's unacceptable. It has to stop. Jets have to jump to 7 to 9 wins next year and show that the following season they're ready to make the playoffs and show me that I got a quarterback. Coming up next is the Giants offseason preview. Should be a really fun one. I'm hoping by the time that I film it, they will have a general manager, so therefore we will have some more inkling as to who the next head coach would be. But a lot to talk about there. I know that'll be a fun one. And after this, it's all teams trying to get themselves into this playoff bracket. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, follow us on Instagram at the GBU Pod, and we'll be doing some different style videos of shorter videos, no more hours, just every day, maybe a 15-minute video comes on. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. And make sure to like and subscribe, like I said, and thanks for watching.